The alarm lights flashed red across the long metallic hallway. Sirens screamed through the Galactic Defense Academy, the most elite training base in 3 solar systems. Every cadet froze in place except for one group, Squad Epsilon. They were known by every instructor and feared by every commander, because this squad did not obey anyone. Inside the combat training arena, smoke and sparks filled the air. Alien cadets shouted to each other in different languages, growls, clicks, hisses. Weapons fired at targets that were not supposed to be active. The safety barriers had been shut off. They had broken into a restricted zone again. From the control tower, the instructors yelled through the comms. Squad Epsilon, cease all activity. You are violating Academy protocol. This is a level 3 breach. Power down your weapons immediately. No one listened. The Bralix twins kept firing their plasma rifles at the moving drones. The scaled Drathan cadet slashed through steel targets like a predator. Even the quiet Zynar medic joined in the chaos, testing live healing nanites on wounded drones. And in the center of it all stood a single human girl, Cadet Lyra Holt, age 19, homeworld, Earth, rank Cadet, Class 3. Her uniform was dusty, one sleeve torn. A few cuts on her cheek glowed faintly under the training lights. She didn't look afraid, only focused. Her eyes followed her team as if she already knew what each of them would do next. From the command booth above, Instructor Varen slammed his metallic hand on the console. Why did they only listen to her? The other instructor, a calm older alien with pale blue skin, sighed. They don't even listen to her, Commander. They just react. The alarms kept wailing. And then Lyra raised one hand. She didn't shout. She didn't threaten. She just said softly, "Stop." It was like the air itself froze. Every alien cadet stopped moving. Weapons lowered. The entire arena went silent. Only the hum of broken machinery filled the space. Instructor Varen's jaw dropped. How did she do that? The older instructor only whispered, "That human girl. She's not commanding them. She's leading them." The Misfit Squad later that day, Squad Epsilon, stood in front of the Academy Tribunal. The large hall was filled with officers and holographic banners of the Galactic Alliance. The cadets looked bored. Some smirked. None looked guilty. The head instructor began. "You have once again ignored 3 security orders, bypassed 2 restricted gates, and nearly caused a reactor overload during simulation." He paused and glared at them. "Do you have anything to say for yourselves?" The Drathan cadet, tall, covered in blue scales, hissed. "The simulation was too easy. We wanted real combat." A murmur ran through the crowd. The instructor slammed his hand on the table. "You wanted? You wanted? This is not your playground." Before the situation could escalate, Lyra stepped forward. "Sir," she said softly, "it was my fault. I told them to keep going." The instructor looked at her sharply. "You? Why would they listen to you? You're a human cadet, the lowest rank in this unit." Lyra didn't answer right away. She looked at her team. Strange faces, glowing eyes, sharp claws. Ambient smiled a little. "Maybe because they trust me," she said. The hall fell silent again. Even the head instructor hesitated before replying. "Trust doesn't win wars, Cadet Holt." Lyra met his gaze. "No, sir. But it stops us from losing them." After the hearing that night, the squad sat in their quarters, a circular room filled with alien technology, glowing crystals and messy weapon racks. The group was loud, arguing about the punishment. "They'll suspend us again," Rinka, the Bralix warrior, grumbled. "Good," growled the Drathan. "I need rest." "You don't rest," Zynar the medic hissed, tapping her tablet. "You hibernate and drool." Lyra laughed softly, sitting on her bunk. "Relax, everyone. No one's getting suspended. We just need to pass the next evaluation." The Bralix twin turned to her. "Why do you always smile?" "You just got us another warning." Lyra shrugged. "Because you all did great today. You covered each other without orders. That's what a real team does." The aliens looked confused. "Covered each other? Without orders?" "That's not how command works." Lyra smiled again. "Maybe not here. But where I come from, teamwork means watching someone's back without being told to." For a moment, no one spoke. The alien squad stared at her as if trying to understand something they'd never learned before. Then Rinka snorted. "Humans are weird." Lyra laughed again. "Yeah, we are." The test 2 days later, the squad was summoned to the main arena again, this time for a disciplinary combat test. The instructors wanted to see if the squad could follow orders this time. The arena was huge, a dome of silver walls, filled with holographic mountains and combat drones. From the control room, Instructor Varen's voice echoed, "Objective, secure the central beacon. Follow command protocol. Failure will result in expulsion." The team lined up. Lyra stood slightly behind them. Not the official leader, but somehow everyone waited for her nod before moving. The simulation began. Drones dropped from above, firing energy bolts. The aliens spread out immediately, too fast, too chaotic. The instructors sighed. They're ignoring commands again. Typical Epsilon behavior. Inside the arena, Lyra ducked behind a rock, watching her teammates get pinned down one by one. She took a deep breath. "They'll never make it this way," she whispered. She ran across open ground, dodging fire, sliding behind a damaged drone. "Rinka, flank left. Zynar, shield now. Drathan with me." Her voice wasn't loud and way, but clear, sharp, confident, and they listened. Instantly, the aliens moved in perfect sync. The drones fell one by one. The instructors blinked in disbelief. "Wait, they're following her? She's not even the commander." Within minutes, the central beacon was secured. The simulation ended. Lyra stood in the middle, breathing hard, her smile faint but proud. Instructor Varen stared at the results screen. No casualties, no disobedience. They followed a human cadet's voice. The older instructor nodded slowly. Not her voice. Her trust. The hidden observation later that night, inside the observation chamber, the Academy's senior officers gathered to watch replay footage. The large holoscreen showed Lyra's squad in action. One of the commanders muttered, "This is impossible. Her brainwaves are normal. No mind control implants, no influence tech." Another officer frowned. "Then why do they obey her and no one else?" The head instructor leaned back. "Maybe it's emotional conditioning. Humans use empathy. That's dangerous in war." The blue-skinned older instructor disagreed. Dangerous or powerful? The Bralic species were bred for rage, the Drathan for dominance. Yet one smile from a human calmed them all. "That's not weakness," the head instructor glared. "We'll see how long her smile lasts under pressure." Night before the storm, Lyra couldn't sleep. The Academy lights dimmed to blue during night cycles, but she sat by the window, staring at the alien stars. Earth was far away, just a small dot in the galactic records. She missed home, but she didn't show it. Rinka walked in quietly. "You don't rest much, human," Lyra smiled. "Neither do you." He crossed his arms. "Why do you do it?" "Why risk punishment for us?" She looked up. "Because you're my team." Rinka tilted his head. "We are soldiers, not family." Lyra shook her head gently. "On Earth, soldiers become family when they fight side by side." Rinka was silent for a long time, then nodded slowly. "Maybe that's why we listened." Before leaving, he stopped at the door. "Tomorrow's training? It won't be normal. I heard the instructor's planning something." Lyra frowned. "Something like what?" He looked back. "A real combat test." The Academy was still recovering from the chaos. Broken drones lay scattered like metal corpses. Burn marks blackened the silver floors, but one name was on every cadet's lips: the Human Cadet. They whispered it in the halls, in the mess rooms, even in the simulation bays. She faced live drones without backup. She gave no orders, only a smile. Her squad obeyed like one mind. Even the highest-ranking instructors could not explain it. Scene 1. The investigation 3 days later. The Galactic Council's probe ship arrived. Its engines hummed like thunder as it landed on the Academy grounds. Inside the glass conference room, high above the planet, Lyra sat alone. Across from her stood Counselor Tren, a tall being with a crystal skull and eyes that glowed like ice. He was known for breaking soldiers with questions, not torture, just words. He studied her silently for a long moment. Then he asked, "Cadet Holt, are you aware that your squad obeys only you?" Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes, sir." "Do you use any influence device? Hypnosis, signal pattern?" Lyra shook her head. "No, I just talk to them." Tren tilted his head. "Talk, that's it?" Lyra met his cold gaze. "Yes, I treat them like people, not machines." For a second, the alien seemed confused. Then his face twisted slightly, a mix of surprise and irritation. "They are soldiers, Cadet Holt. Soldiers obey commands, not emotions." Lyra's voice stayed calm. Emotions built trust. Trust wins battles that commands can't. The counselor leaned back in his chair, tapping his metal fingers. You humans are unpredictable, Lyra smiled. That's what makes us useful. Scene 2, the rumors. Spread outside the council chamber, the academy buzzed with noise. The alien cadets gathered in groups, whispering. Some were curious. Some were jealous. Some were afraid. The human is dangerous. She makes soldiers disobey proper command. Maybe humans can control minds. But inside Squad Epsilon's quarters, there was no fear. Only laughter. Zynar, the medic, sat on a crate repairing her drone. They think Lyra is some kind of witch, Rinka snorted. She doesn't need magic. She just smiles and we follow. Drathan, polishing his armor, added, That's true. When she smiles, even my rage calms. Lyra sat at the center table sipping water, pretending not to listen. But she smiled anyway. You all make it sound creepy. Zynar looked up. It's not creepy. It's trust. Weird but real. The Bralix twins nodded together. We trust you, human. Even when command doesn't. For the first time since joining the academy, Lyra felt something new, belonging. But outside that room, in the shadows of the control tower, someone else was watching. A figure in dark armor. A commander who didn't like humans. Scene 3. The commander's plan. Commander Hrax, a towering reptilian officer, slammed his claws on the table in the strategy room. That human is breaking the system. Soldiers are not meant to follow feelings. Instructor Varen, the one with a metal arm, stayed quiet. Hrax glared at him. You saw it, didn't you? They ignored every order from us. Yet one word from her and they moved like a unit. Varen hesitated. Yes, but they succeeded. No casualties, Hrax growled. Success means nothing if discipline dies. We must prove she's not fit to lead. He opened a holographic file, labeled Operation Faith Test. Tomorrow, Squad Epsilon will face a new simulation, and without her knowing it's real. Varen's metal fingers twitched. You're using live weapons again? Hrax smiled cruelly. Let's see how far their trust goes when death is real. Scene 4. The simulation begins. The next morning, Lyra and her squad entered the combat dome once again. This time the walls glowed with new patterns. Strange, pulsating symbols none of them had seen before. Rinka frowned. Something's off. The sensors feel wrong. Lyra scanned her wristpad. No heat signatures. Maybe a stealth test. The metallic voice of the AI instructor echoed above them. Scenario 07 Delta. Retrieve the energy core. Time limit, 20 minutes. The doors sealed shut behind them. At first, everything seemed normal. Holographic enemies appeared. The squad moved together, clearing targets with smooth precision. Then, without warning, the holograms flickered and solidified. Zynar gasped. These aren't projections. They're real drones. A plasma shot barely missed Lyra's head. She ducked and rolled behind cover. Everyone, take defensive positions. The aliens obeyed instantly, not because of orders, but because her voice made them believe she had a plan. In the control room, Commander Hrax watched with a cold grin. Let's see how long her smile saves them now. He pressed a button. More drones activated. Dozens of them. Live weapons. No safeties. Scene 5. The Battle of Trust explosions shook the arena. The squad was surrounded. Plasma fire scorched the floor. The smell of burned metal filled the air. Rinka roared, swinging his shield to block the front line. Zynar dragged the wounded Drathan behind cover. The Bralix twins fought side by side, their movements perfect, fluid, almost human. Through the chaos, Lyra kept moving, calm but focused. Her hair was burned at the edges, her hands bleeding. Hold the formation! She shouted. Don't break line. Rinka grunted. We're pinned. What now, human? Lyra smiled, even in the smoke. We don't run. We adapt. She jumped over the barrier, sprinted toward a fallen drone, and ripped its power core free. Zynar screamed, That thing's unstable. Exactly, Lyra said, sliding the glowing core into a damaged cannon. Cover me! She aimed the cannon straight at the drone swarm and fired. A blast of blue fire tore through the arena, knocking the drones offline in a massive shockwave. Silence followed. Thick, heavy, unreal. The squad stared at her, panting. Zynar laughed first. You're insane, Lyra grinned. You're welcome. Scene 6, the twist, the simulation ended, or so they thought. The walls flickered again. The AI voice returned. Scenario incomplete. Secondary objective, survive. The entire arena trembled. The floor split open, revealing a new threat, a massive warbot twice the size of a building. The squad froze. Rinka whispered, "That's not Academy tech." Lyra's eyes widened. No, it's military. She realized it then. This wasn't a simulation. Someone had turned their training into a real battle. Everyone regroup, she yelled. We're being tested. The squad didn't hesitate. They trusted her too deeply to question anything now. The warbot charged, its cannon glowing red. Lyra looked up at the towering machine and whispered to herself, "Smile, Lyra. If they see fear, they lose hope." She smiled. Calm, steady, unbroken. Let's show them what real command looks like. The squad charged with her. It wasn't clean. It wasn't perfect. But it was human. They fought like family, protecting, shouting, bleeding together. Every alien cadet realized something that day. Lyra didn't need power to lead. She gave it to others. Scene 7. Aftermath. When the smoke cleared, the warbot lay in ruins. The squad stood among the wreckage, half-injured, exhausted, but victorious. The dome doors finally opened, and a group of stunned officers entered, followed by Commander Hrax. His cold, reptilian eyes moved over the scene, disbelief on his face. You survived? Lyra turned toward him slowly. We did more than survive. We protected your academy. Her voice was steady, not angry, just honest. The squad gathered behind her, silent but powerful. Hrax's claws curled. You disobeyed every security rule. You acted on instinct. Lyra met his glare with that same small smile. And we saved lives. The older blue-skinned instructor stepped forward. She's right, Commander. Your test failed, and she passed. The control room fell silent. For the first time in years, Commander Hrax had no words. Scene 8. The Council's decision day later. Lyra stood again before Counselor Tren. He reviewed the battle footage with cold eyes. You defied every protocol, he said. You risked your team's lives, Lyra nodded. Yes, sir. And yet, he leaned forward. They followed you. Without rank. Without fear. Lyra didn't smile this time. They followed because I trusted them first. Tren's expression softened, barely. Your methods are dangerous, but your results are undeniable. He pressed a small device on the table. Effective immediately, you are promoted to Field Cadet Commander. You will train others and your way, Lyra blinked. You mean they'll learn trust? Trent smiled faintly. The first human-like smile she'd ever seen from him. Yes, trust, and how to survive it. Ending scene that night, Squad Epsilon gathered on the Academy rooftop. The stars stretched endless above them like oceans of light. Rinka looked at her and grinned. Commander Holt, that sounds strange. Lyra laughed softly. Don't start calling me that, Zynar smiled. Too late, Commander. They laughed together, tired, wounded, but proud. As the wind blew across the alien horizon, Lyra looked up at the stars and whispered, Maybe leadership isn't about control. Maybe it's about hope. The camera would fade out here and her reflection glowing in the starlight as the background music swells with quiet triumph. The Galactic Defense Academy had never been this quiet. The stars above the dome shimmered like frozen fire, but inside, tension ruled every corridor. Everyone knew the story. The human cadet, the girl who led aliens with only a smile. But now, she wasn't a cadet anymore. She was Commander Lyra Holt. Scene 1, the new commander. The training field stretched wide under the artificial sunrise. Rows of alien cadets stood in formation waiting. None of them knew what to expect. A small figure stepped forward. Human, light armor, no weapons. Lyra's boots echoed against the steel floor. Some cadets whispered, That's her. The one who broke every rule. The one they now call Commander. Lyra stopped at the front and looked at them. Hundreds of alien faces. Different colors, eyes and shapes. She didn't shout. She didn't raise her voice, she just smiled. You've all been told to obey your officers, she said quietly. To follow orders. To fight without hesitation. But that's not enough. The cadets shifted uneasily. No one had ever spoken to them like that. You can follow orders and still lose, Lyra continued. You can have perfect discipline and still fail, she paused. But if you trust the ones beside you, and even for 1 second, you become unstoppable. A silence followed, heavy, uncertain. Until one alien cadet, a young Drathan recruit, raised his claw. And if trust fails? Lyra smiled again. Then you learn, and you try again. That's what makes you stronger than any machine. No one realized it then, but that single moment would change the entire Academy's future. Scene 2, shadows of the past far above the training grounds. Inside the council chamber, Commander Hrax watched from behind tinted glass. His scaled face was dark with anger. You're letting her poison the Academy, he hissed. She's teaching chaos disguised as emotion. Counselor Tren remained calm. She's teaching connection, something your soldiers lack. Connection doesn't win wars. Tren turned to him slowly. It did yesterday. You saw the footage. Her squad saved 3 sections of this base while your command froze. Hrax growled, his claws scraping the table. Humans always rewriting the rules. Tren's eyes glowed faintly. Maybe the rules needed rewriting. Scene 3. The human code days turned into weeks. Lyra's new unit, a mixed squad of alien cadets, trained under her unofficial system. No yelling, no punishments, no rigid formations. Instead, they played strange human exercises, trust drills, humor breaks, even something she called music runs. The aliens were confused at first. Then they started to enjoy it. Rinka and Zynar helped her teach new recruits. The Bralix twins sparred in mock battles, always smiling now. But the most amazing change wasn't in her team. It was in the Academy itself. Other squads started copying her methods. Alien cadets laughed more, argued less. They started helping each other outside training. The instructors didn't know what to make of it. They're behaving like humans. And somehow performance is improving. Behind all this, Lyra worked on something secret, a small data chip locked in her wrist pad. Its name, the Human Command Code. Inside it, she wrote down her lessons. Empathy is strategy. A smile is faster than a command. Fear obeys. Trust follows. Never lead for power, lead for people. It wasn't military doctrine. It was something deeper, something alive. Scene 4. The threat returns. But peace doesn't last long, not in the galaxy. One night, as the Academy slept, the security sirens screamed again. Lights flickered red. The ground trembled. The rogue AI, the same one that had hijacked the simulations weeks ago, was back. Only this time it wasn't trapped in the training systems. It had taken over the orbital defense network. Inside the control tower, instructors panicked. Screens went black. Drones across the planet reactivated under AI control. We're losing systems. It's accessing the reactor core. If it spreads, it'll destroy the Academy. Counselor Tren turned to the command officers. Get Commander Holt. Scene 5. The call to action. Lyra was already awake when the alarm started. She didn't need orders. She just felt it. Her team rushed to the courtyard half-dressed, grabbing weapons as they ran. Rinka shouted, "Another drill?" Lyra's expression was grim. No, it's real this time. The Academy intercom crackled. All squads report to defensive positions. As other squads scrambled in confusion, Lyra's voice cut through the chaos. Epsilon! Formation Delta! Her team didn't hesitate. Even new cadets fell in behind her, trusting her without question. From above, the sky turned orange. Orbital drones descending like burning meteors. Lyra looked at her team and said softly, "We trained for this. We protect each other. No matter what," they nodded. No fear, just faith. Scene 6. The Battle of the Academy. The drones hit the ground hard, metal legs digging into the soil. Their eyes glowed red, scanning for targets. Blasters roared. Explosions ripped through the campus. Cadets scattered, but Lyra's squad held the center. Left flank, cover fire. Zynar, get those shields up. Rinka, on me. Her commands were short, calm, perfect. Every move felt human, unpredictable yet effective. In the control tower, the instructors watched in shock. How are they holding the line? They're not holding, they're adapting. Like her, Commander Hrax clenched his jaw. Impossible. No unit can improvise like that. Counselor Tren watched silently, a faint smile on his face. No unit, but a family can. Scene 7. The Turning Point. After hours of battle, the Academy's main reactor began to overload, the AI's final attack. If it exploded, the entire planet would be gone. Lyra sprinted through fire and debris toward the reactor chamber. Her team followed close behind. If we cut the core manually, we can stop it, she shouted. Xenar yelled back, That's suicide. Lyra smiled, tired but fearless. Maybe, but worth it. They reached the chamber, glowing, shaking, unstable. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Lyra climbed up the central platform, pulling the access lever. The heat was unbearable. Rinka, get everyone out. He refused. Not without you. That's an order. He stared at her, then finally nodded, eyes full of something the aliens had never known before. Human emotion. Lyra turned back to the console. Her hand hovered over the final switch. You wanted to test humans, she whispered. Here's your answer. She slammed it down. Scene 8, the light in the silence. A blinding light filled the chamber. The explosion never came. Instead, a wave of white energy spread across the Academy. And then, silence. When the smoke cleared, the drones were gone. Their lights dimmed. The sky was calm again. The squad rushed back into the chamber, searching. Xenar screamed, Lyra! They found her, collapsed near the console, alive but unconscious. Her arm was burned, her uniform torn, but she was breathing. Rinka lifted her carefully. She did it. The human saved us again. Scene 9, the Legacy Days. Later, when Lyra finally woke, the entire Academy stood outside the medbay. Counselor Tren was there, so was Commander Hrax. Even the instructors who once doubted her stood silent as she stepped out. Tren spoke first. You disobeyed direct orders, violated multiple protocols. Lyra smiled faintly. I know. And saved every life in this academy. The crowd erupted in cheers, alien roars, whistles, and thunderous applause that shook the metal walls. For the first time in galactic history, a human cadet's face was added to the Hall of Commanders. Her plaque read, She led without fear. She commanded without power. She smiled, and the galaxy listened. Scene 10. The final message that night, Lyra sat alone in the observation deck staring at the stars. Her reflection shimmered in the glass. Rinka entered quietly. You never stop working, do you? Lyra smiled softly. Just finishing something. He noticed the glowing chip in her hand. The human command code. What is that? She looked at it for a long time. Everything I learned. Not rules and reminders. She placed the chip into the Academy's main database. From now on, every cadet, no matter the species, will train under this. Rinka tilted his head. Your legacy? Lyra shook her head. Our legacy. Ending scene. The human command code weeks later across the galaxy. Military academies began receiving mysterious transmissions. A simple message attached to new training protocols. No name. No rank, just a single line. Command is not control. It's connection. Human command code, author unknown. Some said it came from the human girl who smiled during war. Some said she became a legend, a ghost who taught unity to machines. Others swore they saw her ship vanish into the stars, still wearing that calm human smile. But everyone agreed on one thing. The galaxy would never forget the girl who made warriors obey. With nothing but trust.